Call the Anderson County Commissioners Court to order for our regular meeting, November the 27th, 2023 at 9:06 a.m. Show that a quorum is present, the entire court is present in the courtroom. Ask y'all to stand with me as we do the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Ask Commissioner Dixon to do the invocation for us.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we don't thank you for this day. Lord, we just ask you to be with us today as we make counties for decision. Lord, I just want to lift up all the employees of Anderson County to you, Lord. Lift them up to you and their family. Lord, I'd like to lift up all the men and women who are putting their life on the line for us this morning, Lord, and just watch over them. Lord, I ask you to bring them back home to their families safely, Lord. Lord, again, I just ask you to be with us this morning as we make decisions. Lord, just watch over us and guide us. These things I ask in Jesus' precious name.
Amen. We're going for the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Did we have anybody signed up and open for? Okay. All right, moving to item number 4, the consent agenda. Consent agenda is considered to be self-explanatory and will be entered with one motion. There will not be a separate discussion on these items. However, any consent agenda item may be removed for individual consideration pursuant to a request by a Commissioner's Court member. So, we've got budget amendments, number 145 through 148 and number 150 through 160, approved bills. Do we have any utilities crossing county roads?
Yes, sir, I have one.
Precinct 3.
First Creek Water will be boring under Anderson County Road 349 with it'll have a 3-inch service leading to the residents on 1880 Anderson County Road 349.
Good. Anybody else?
No, sir.
Joe?
341. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I have one for Spectrum,
Okay.
on, Anderson County Road 431.
All right, and then we have the treasurer's report,
Mine.
and I guess we need to swear to that one.
If you raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear to read the treasurer's report and believe to the best of your ability it is correct?
I do.
Thank you.
This being passed around. Who's good? Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Together.
It was better.
Also, the sheriff's report, county clerk's report, tax assessor collector's report, district attorney's report, auditor's report, district clerk's report, IT report, JP reports, any constable reports, veterans report, collections reports, and historical commission reports. If there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Okay. Item number 5 is a public hearing. So I'm going to recess from our regular meeting and call a public hearing and conduct a public hearing on creation of a reinvestment zone to be known as Anderson County Reinvestment Zone Trinity Gas for purposes of tax abatement to provide economic development within the county. And I'll convene that hearing at 9:11 a.m. And Bob Bass with Allison Bass and McGee is here to help with the presentation on that. And Commissioner Chaikin, you asked a question earlier. If you look on page 5, at that tax abatement agreement on Trinity,
Okay.
that answers your question on the staggered.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, this is a tax abatement, so we would need first to create a reinvestment zone under Chapter 312 of the Properties Code. This zone is identified in map that is attached to the application and is included in several places in the document itself. This is out in the northwest corner of the county. It's a parcel of land out there that's about a little over 500 acres, looks like, for the purpose of locating a gas storage facility and associated buildings and infrastructure.
It's in the KU school district.
Yeah. The project is actually 3 separate documents that require execution today. The first is an order creating the reinvestment zone. That zone would then be eligible for tax abatement within that zone for improvements within that zone. The second stage is to sign a road use agreement. It's unlikely that this project will use a large number of road miles in terms of actual use, but in case there are roads used by the developer, they would then identify those roads, allow the commissioner for that precinct to inspect the roads, make sure that they're built correctly. Only the roads that are identified as either ingress or egress roads would be used. Any truck found on another road could be cited for a violation of the road use agreement. If there is a second violation by that driver, they're barred from participating in hauling for that job. Finally, the tax abatement agreement itself. The tax abatement agreement is in conformity with guidelines and criteria adopted by the county some time ago. This is for the installation of gas heaters, fuel gas conditioning, coolers, compressors, oil tanks, water tanks, inlet scrubbers, filter separators, generators, transformers, instrumentation and control equipment, flow computers and the like, all associated with the gas storage. I have with me the signed abatement agreement and the road use agreement by an authority for the Trinity Gas. This project would have a staggered terms for the abatement converted to a pilot payment. There would be $0 assessed in terms of the abatement, but due to the pilot being paid over 10 years, it would pay, or 7 years, I'm sorry, over a 7-year period, this would pay $133,559 a year. In the third year, it would drop down to 70%. In the fourth year, 60%. In the fifth year, 50%. And in the sixth and seventh years, it dropped down to 25%. The tax abatement agreement has the typical terms that you're familiar with from other agreements.
The estimated cost of the project is $150 million.
Yes, sir. And
over that 7 years, it's $934,911.12.
Yes, sir.
Is estimated revenue for the town.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
How much was it, sir?
It's $934,911.12.
They anticipate hiring not fewer than 80 people during the construction and then retaining 6 permanent employees thereafter. They would have a job fair use typical efforts to try to recruit local workers for that project. There are provisions in the tax abatement agreement in terms of abatement, recapture in the event of a default.
Could you repeat those numbers again, employees?
It was 80 employees for construction.
Construction, 6 full-time.
That's what I was wondering, 6 full.
Did you want the numbers for the 7 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
That in a general sense, is the terms of the abatement agreement, the road use agreement, and the reinvestment zone. Any questions?
Yes, sir. So initially, this project will start at 2504, and it'll go all the way across Fort Market Road, 2706, and then it will finally end up, because it has to go down 2610, but it will end up at 2601. So from 2504, 2506, 2505, 2610, and 2601 to branch off and go in all those different ranches or wherever they're going to have to go out on people's property. They will come across those county roads. And then there will be pipes coming across going in there, just like when they brought the natural gas and everything to, they will do closures, like notify us and everything when they got to make some big pipe transformations and put through there and everything to work on that big parcel of land, correct?
Correct. You'll be responsible as the commissioner for that precinct with coordination with the foreman of the job, but all of that's contemplated by the road use agreement.
Yes, sir. Next question. Is this the old Apex Capers project? 'Cause I know they were trying to get rid of it and go to someone else maybe, because there was supposed to be another gas plant right there. Storage.
I'm not familiar. I don't know.
But according to your grade of your road, you should be able to, he'll be able to control whether he has them bore the road or cut the road. That'll be up to you. That'll be your discretion. If it's a number 1 road, you don't want to let them cut it, brand new road.
But I know once before I wanted to, and then the state came in and said with their permits, and they had to go through, they had to cut and build a certain way, but they came back and put me a bridge in there. That's when I first took office, right before the church. So it was really, yeah, they had to cut and build it. I couldn't tell them to bore because it was so
Are
large.
you attorney gas board?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll let him address some of that if that's all right with you.
Sure.
But if you would state your name, and who you represent on the record, please.
My name is Cameron Morgan, and I'm with K.E. Andrews, and I'm representing Trinity Gas Storage. And to answer your question about the Apex, this is Sage Brook. It's a different owner. This is a whole different company than that Apex job. What was that, about 10 years ago?
That's correct.
Yes, sir. So this is a whole different project, different owner.
Okay. Do you have one of your cards? Could you leave one with me?
Yes, sir. I'll grab one for you.
And you heard the commissioner's questions about the road closures and coordinating with him.
Yes, sir. And I'll make sure to inform them that. And they already know that they need to inform you guys anyways, but I'll make sure that happens.
It's
as well.
just for the church
Yeah.
that's right there in between the
But when
gas
they're-
plant, Trinity Storage, and right there, because everybody used that main access. Not the old churches on 2706, but the one that's farther down.
The one that's further down.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But when they go to cross roads, they're gonna let us know. They'll let him know it's in this precinct that they're gonna cross the road. And then we have basically guidelines that we follow that basically legislation is set for us that if the road class is say an A, number 1 road, brand new, you know, their utility companies can't cut them. They're not supposed to cut them. You know what I mean? So
Yes, sir.
whether y'all have that ability to bore some of these roads if they're new roads, or do they all have to be cut? Do you know?
I do not, Commissioner, but I can find out for y'all.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions from me or the representative?
Did anybody else have any questions, or did you have something else that you wanted to say?
Just
While you're standing there.
Yes, since I'm here, just a reminder, this is a $155 million investment, but the actual abated portion of it is about $80 million. The other 75 is just ancillary equipment and stuff that can't be abated, like the pipelines they have a lot of pipelines that are being invested in here, so that's going to hold a lot of capital when you're looking at the economics. But the reason why, of course, this is so big, and Bob Bass already mentioned this before, is it needs to be consecutive for the reinvestment zone, and these are just drill spots and where it's going to have equipment on. And then one more point, because I know we've talked about this in the past, just to reiterate, there's a compressor station. It's about 1,000 feet from any residential. So just as a reminder for that, because I know that was a concern last time.
Yes, so on the map right here, could you show me where that location would possibly be, or do you know off this sheet? Because it's off of 2504, correct?
Yes, sir.
It's on the backside of the gas plant.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Coming in this way.
Yes. That's what I thought. Yes, sir.
But if you have any other questions, just let me know. But that's all for me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Bob.
Don't forget your card.
Anything else, Bob?
That's all I have. If you had any other questions.
No, sir, Mr. Bass. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have 3 sets of the documentation. They're
And
flagged.
they're all signed, ready to go.
Well, you'll need to sign them.
I
think.
understand.
But look, they're flagged where you would sign, and they're signed already by Trinity Gas.
All right. So at this time, is there anyone else that wishes to speak in the public hearing with regard to the reinvestment zone for Trinity Gas Storage? I see nobody else, so I'll close the public hearing at 9:23 a.m. and go to the next item on the agenda. Item number 7 is consider and take possible action to create a reinvestment zone for purposes of tax abatement to provide economic development within the county in accordance with Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code. Said reinvestment zone to be known as Anderson County Reinvestment Zone Trinity Gas and located as described and depicted in the application for tax abatement agreement and in the public notice is published in accordance with Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code. And we had those on our website, and those were published in the Palestine Herald Press also.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, that'll be fine.
This is a application for tax abatement in a reinvestment zone to be known as Brotherton Reinvestment Zone. It's a small tract of land for a battery equipment storage
Okay,
system. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Which one is this one?
Brotherton.
Okay,
Okay,
we got to do our motions and everything. I closed the public hearing on the
Oh,
Trinity Gas.
sorry, I'm
So
sorry.
Let me take them one at a time.
Okay, I'll put that in the form of a motion, Your Honor, and I move to create a reinvestment zone to be known as Anderson County Reinvestment Zone Trinity Gas for the purpose of a tax abatement to provide economic development within the county in accordance with Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code. Said reinvestment zone to be located and described as the application by Trinity Gas Storage LLC.
Motion by Commissioner Mims, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chapin, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So, next item is to consider and take possible action regarding the road use agreement between Anderson County and Trinity Gas Storage LLC to address possible degradation of any county maintained roads in the construction, operation, or maintenance of the Anderson County Reinvestment Zone Trinity Gas. I'm not sure, did y'all get their script in here?
I don't see it, Judge.
Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and read the motion then. I'll make a motion to approve a road use agreement between Anderson County and Trinity Gas Storage LLC to address possible degradation of any county maintained roads and construction, operation, and maintenance of Anderson County Reinvestment Zone Trinity Gas. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 9 is consider and take possible action regarding the adoption of a tax abatement agreement with Trinity Gas Storage LLC pursuant to chapter 312 Texas Tax Code. Somebody else want to read this? Or you want me to do it?
You read it.
Okay. All right, so I move to approve a tax abatement agreement with Trinity Gas Storage LLC to provide economic development within the Anderson County Reinvestment Zone. Trinity Gas, located within Anderson County in accordance with chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code, upon land described in the application and public notices required by law for the construction of a battery electrical storage project of a hold on a minute. Something got duplicated. On this motion, while I'm reading this, you got this second? I think something got duplicated from one of the other projects. Yeah, something got duplicated. Okay. Let me try this again. All right, I move to approve a tax abatement agreement with Trinity Gas Storage LLC to provide economic development within the Anderson County Reinvestment Zone. Trinity Gas, located within Anderson County in accordance with chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code, on land described in the application and public notices required by law for the construction of a gas storage facility of approximately, at an estimated cost of $150 million. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? So ordered. All right. Item number 10, I'll recess and go into a public hearing at 9:29 a.m. And this public hearing is on the creation of a reinvestment zone to be known as Anderson County Reinvestment Zone Brotherton for purposes of tax abatement to provide economic development within the county. Mr. Bates.
Members of the court, this is a tax abatement application. Likewise, it calls for the creation of a reinvestment zone. This reinvestment zone is located in the northern part of the county. It's near an intersection with Highway 79.
FM 645.
In 645, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Southwest?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, it's opposite corner with Walmart District.
All right.
Yes.
Precinct 2 also.
This is a small parcel of about 12.75 acres. It's owned by one party. The reinvestment zone itself is anticipated to be about $150 million as well. This would be done on a 10-year tax abatement agreement with Brotherton. It would be calculated on the basis of a 60% abatement, and it would pay out at its build-out size of 170 megawatts at about 125,556.72. Over the 10 years of the abatement, it would pay out $1,255,567.
Bob, can you say that figure one more time?
$1,255,567.
Okay.
And they're not staggered.
They're not staggered. They do depreciate on an accelerated depreciation rate, so we're not staggering this one.
But they'll be paying taxes their first year. They'll be paying taxes their first year. In other words,
As soon
Once
as they
they're
go
up and
into
running. Once they're up and
production,
running.
yes, sir. Once they go into commercial operations, they would begin to pay that year. There is a minimum required of them, and that's 100 megawatts. Those are required, I say required, they're suggested so that you can anticipate such things as ERCOT's ability to accept the full load of the full capacity of the project. But this would pay no less than 100 megawatts of capacity over the 10 years at the minimum would pay $71,746 or $717,466 over the 10-year period. Thereafter, it goes on the tax rolls at the full rate, and it's anticipated that both of these, the minimum guarantee over the lifetime of the project is approximately $112,000 a year. At the high end, it's about $148,000 a year.
Who will monitor their production?
That'll be done internally on each module. We'll keep up with the capacity. They have to certify each year as to what their rated capacity is. You're paid on the basis of the rated capacity, not on the amount that's actually generated.
And they won't have to build another transfer station to get back onto the grid because there's a little transfer station in the north corner of that
Right
property.
there, right.
Yes, sir.
I don't think so.
Yes, sir.
And this is what's called a BESS. It's a standalone battery storage facility. There's no tie-in to a solar or a wind or a hydrogen facility. It stores energy that they take out of the grid, and then at times of shortage or at night, whenever, they put it back into the grid, and they make a marked up value for that. So,
I think from their presentation, I remember it may last for, they may start generating power through the grid for like 2 hours.
right. This is probably
And then they would have to start charging.
This is probably a 2-hour full capacity capability that would in 2 hours exhaust itself.
Yeah, it'll drain it down.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What about the employees side of this full time?
This is a drawback to the batteries. They don't really require, they're guaranteeing in the agreement for job creation that they would retain 150 people temporarily during the construction and the equivalent of 1 to 3 full-time employees thereafter. Although most of this is done remotely, and so they'll have work crews come in for maintenance, mow the grass, take care of the facility. There is agreement in this document, the tax abatement agreement, that requires them to train your volunteer fire departments each year to provide any couplings or necessary equipment that might be unique to those putting firefighting materials into those containers. They have their own onboard fire suppression, so it's doubtful that there would be any such use, but if so, they agree to have all of that on site and to train the volunteer fire departments annually. There is a provision in the agreement for the donation of cash monies each year. Let me find that section.
To the fire department.
Yes, sir.
To the fire department.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
To help with the fire suppression.
Right. This agreement, again, it's probable that there would not be there would not be any use of the county roads, but there might be, and in that event, they have to enter into a road use agreement similar to the previous one. Any,
Is there gonna be a road use agreement on
I
that?
don't think there'll be a need because they have access from 79 and 645, but I think they have to put that there. Yes, sir.
we always require a road use agreement just in the eventuality that
But
they
it's
do.
on the agenda to approve the road.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all right.
Are there any questions beyond that?
No, sir.
I don't have any. No, sir. Is there, I think there's a representative for the project, if you have any questions, or did you want to say anything? Okay.
I do have a signed agreement on behalf of Brotherton, so they have signed off. I'm going to leave, again, the documents with the court.
When do y'all anticipate this thing being completed? Ready to go? It's an issue.
That was from the first.
Austin Willis with Belltown Power.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully, we'll be finishing up the interconnection studies with Rayburn and ERCOT in this next month or January. From then, it's really dependent on Rayburn's timeline for any upgrades to that substation. We think kind of spring 2026 would be the latest that we would go operational. Thank you.
Mark, did you get his name on the record?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Somebody was asking me a question, so I want to make sure. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. This time I'll close the public hearing. If there, let me ask, is there anybody else that wishes to speak on the reinvestment zone, creating a reinvestment zone for the Brotherton project? I see no one, so I'll close the public hearing at 9:39 a.m. Go back to the regular agenda. And the first item is to consider and take action to create a reinvestment zone for purposes of tax abatement to provide economic development within the county in accordance with Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code. Said reinvestment zone to be known as the Anderson County Reinvestment Zone of Brotherton and located as described and depicted in the application by tax abatement. And then the public notice is published in accordance with Chapter 312 of Texas Tax Code. And again, those were on our website and published in the Falcon Herald Press. So, this time I've got this script. Does somebody else want to read that motion? You don't?
Doesn't matter. I'll read it, or you can read it.
Okay.
You need to sign those. No, sir, he hasn't signed it. I move to create a reinvestment zone to be known as Anderson County Reinvestment Zone, Brotherton, for the purposes of tax abatement to provide economic development within the county in accordance with Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code. Said reinvestment zone to be described and located in the application by BT Brotherton Storage, LLC.
Motion by Commissioner Mims. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered.
You be the road.
The next item is to consider and take possible action regarding a road use agreement between Anderson County and BT Brotherton Storage LLC to address possible degradation of any county-maintained roads in the construction, operation, or maintenance of the Anderson County Reinvestment Zone, Brotherton. I'll just read it. So I'll make a motion, or I move to approve the road use agreement between Anderson County, BT Brotherton Storage LLC to address possible degradation of any county-maintained roads in the construction, operation, or maintenance of the Anderson County Reinvestment Zone, Brotherton. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? So ordered. Item number 14 is to consider and take possible action regarding the adoption of a tax abatement agreement with BT Brotherton Storage LLC pursuant to Chapter 312 Texas Tax Code.
Oh, you can, it's fine.
All right, I move to approve a tax abatement agreement with BT Brotherton Storage LLC to provide economic development within the Anderson County Reinvestment Zone, Brotherton, located within Anderson County in accordance with Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code upon land described in the application and public notices required by law for the construction of a battery electrical storage system project of approximately 175 megawatts storage capacity and an estimated cost of $150 million. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered.
You have to sign those.
I've still got to sign on this side when we get through. Okay. All right, item number 15 is conduct a public hearing on the creation of a reinvestment zone, being known as Anderson County Reinvestment Zone, and the name has changed, of the company. It's Castleman, so it's, Anderson County Reinvestment Zone Castleman for purposes of tax abatement to provide economic development within the county. So at this time, I'll open recess our regular meeting, going to a public hearing at 9:44 a.m. Mr. Bass.
This is another BESS unit, battery equipment storage system. It's anticipated to cost about $120 million with and a capacity of 200 megawatts, a guarantee of 150 megawatts. It would generally be located as shown on a map that's attached to the documentation. It's out to the northeast of the city of Palestine, about 6.2 miles. It's on a 7-acre tract of land.
I think this was near the old Alcoa plant.
Yes, yes. Similar documentation to what we had in the other BESS unit. It has a 10-year abatement period at 60% value of appraised value. So we're looking at something like, for the full size of 200 megawatt, about $100,000, $445, $100,445. At the minimum, it's $75,334. That's comes out to about $500 per megawatt. The reinvestment zone itself, we have the document attached to the order, and it calls for the project to be built within that zone to be eligible for tax abatement on the improvements within that zone that are taxable. The road use agreement is similar. I doubt this project will require a road use agreement, but in the event they do, there would need to be a road use agreement in place.
It is, Mr. Bass, it is on a county road.
Okay, so might well take a road use agreement.
Okay.
Are there any questions about this project? I have two representatives here from Castleman. Do you have any questions?
Sir, if they could leave one of their cards with the clerk too before they leave, just so we get their contact information. Okay. And
I will rework the documents to take into account the change of name, and I'll be submitting those to you later I'll try to do it this morning and give them to you so you can sign those before the end.
And that way they can sign off on it too,
Yeah, they can sign off on it.
since they're here. And if you get those changes made, you can just email it to Lisa.
Okay,
We print those out on our printer.
all right.
That way.
Are there any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
I would recommend that the court go ahead and approve the documents, and then we will make the changes to include their name.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Did y'all want to speak to the project since?
Unless there's any questions,
Okay.
What's y'all's time schedule that y'all think?
If you would state your name and who you represent for the record.
I'm Ryan Castleman, Castleman Power Development. Our interconnect studies are complete, so it's really dependent on financing. So it can start anytime. It'll be first quarter of next year when they get started. But get started doesn't mean that there's equipment out there. It's engineering, and so it'll probably be about 6 months before any dirt starts turning.
Appreciate it. That's a popular question we're asked when we get done with this. We go out and they say, when?
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Takes a couple of years to build one of these. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak in the public hearing for Anderson County Reinvestment Zone, Castleman? All right, I see no one else wishing to speak. So I'll close the public hearing at 9:49 a.m. Return to our regular agenda. First item on the agenda after the public hearing is item number 17. Consider and take possible action to create reinvestment zone for purposes of tax abatement to provide economic development within the county in accordance with Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code. Said reinvestment zone to be known as Anderson County Reinvestment Zone, Castleman, and located as described and depicted in the application by tax abatement agreement and in the public notices published in accordance with Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code. So I'll entertain a motion. Or you want to read? You want to read it? Okay. All right. I had to make some changes to the names too. So I move to create a reinvestment zone to be known as Anderson County Reinvestment Zone Castleman for purposes of tax abatement to provide economic development within the county in accordance with Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code, and reinvestment zone to be located as described in the application by Castleman Power Development, LLC. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 18 is consider and take possible action regarding a road use agreement between Anderson County and Castleman Power Development, LLC to address possible degradation of any county maintained roads in the construction, operation, and maintenance of the Anderson County Reinvestment Zone, Castleman. So I move that to create or approve a road use agreement between Anderson County and Castleman Power Development, LLC to protect the county against possible degradation of any county maintained roads during the construction, operation, or maintenance of the Castleman Battery Energy Storage System project. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered.
What road number is that, Kenneth, that they're accessing? Is that the Alcoa Road?
Yes, I think it's 367. Don't hold me to that.
All right, item number 19 is consider and take possible action regarding the adoption of a tax abatement agreement with Castleman Power Development LLC pursuant to Chapter 312 Texas Tax Code. So I move to approve a tax abatement agreement with Castleman Power Development LLC to provide economic development within the Anderson County Reinvestment Zone. Castleman, located within Anderson County in accordance with Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code upon land described in the application and public notices required by law for the construction of a battery electrical storage system project of approximately 200 megawatt storage capacity at an estimated cost of $120 million. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Bass. You
Thank
be
you,
careful.
Thank you, sir.
Bob?
He's gonna be here on 22, right?
Well, okay, we've
Got 20.
we're gonna have a presentation on the future. I didn't know if you wanted to listen to that. I know you gotta get those documents.
Yeah, I don't need to attend that.
Okay.
but, I'd be glad to stay in if you want me to.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I just, in case you wanted to, that's the next item, if you don't mind. Or if you want to use that conference room, Lisa can set you up in there
All right, thank you.
for changing the documents.
Hey, Mr. Bass? Ed, Mark brought you water in case you need it.
All right, going to, next item on the agenda is item number 20 here, presentation from Texas Futura LLC related to an economic development project in the Willow Creek Business Park, and consider and take action on a retainer agreement with Allison Bass and McGee LLC for assistance with issues regarding the tax abatement.
Good morning, Judge and
Good
Commissioners.
morning.
Good to see you all. It's invigorating to see all this economic development going on in the county. That's incredible. I appreciate that. So this morning, just as a short recap, at the end of October, we came before you and asked to set a public hearing on December the 11th to consider a tax abatement to match a similar tax abatement being considered by the city for Texas Futura and Lone Star Oil Tech LLC, who are coming into our Willow Creek Business Park. The court expressed that they would like to hear a presentation from Texas Futura from the principals of the firm. So I have with me today Karthik and Nelson, who are going to come up and introduce themselves and run you through a bit of information about the company.
Morning.
Morning.
Thank you,
to have you
Christoph.
up here.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, everyone.
If you don't mind giving your name and
Yes.
who you represent, so it's on our record. Okay?
Sure. I'm Karthik Sundaram, one of the president of Texas Futura LLC. And I have Nelson Verghese here, who's my partner. He's another president.
And before y'all leave, can y'all give the clerk a card?
Sure, we'll
Okay.
do that. Thank you.
Just a second, I'll turn the light off. You got it? That's good, thank you.
Yeah, it's about 15, 16 slides, and I'm not going to make it too long. I'll just make it short and sweet, and then I'll just
Pull that
open
mic
up.
a little closer to you,
Sure.
just so it projects.
Is it better now?
Oh, that's it. Yes.
Okay. So just a brief description about this project and ourselves. So let me start about the project. As it says, re-refining project, it ties to the used oil. We collect used lubricant oil. Once there is already a system or a collection in place for the used motor oil or lubricant oil. So as you know, the sources are in multiple ways. It comes majority from the automotive side as well as from the industrial side. So you could get lubricant oil from different sources. It could be from aviation, it could be from ocean. There are multiple sources of that. So technically what the industry does is like once the used oil is collected, they go through some initial filtering, reduce some acid levels in that, reduce all the sulfurs, basic things, basic filtering. And it will be sold to either re-refiners, is what we are representing here, or it could be sold to a recycling industry. The unfortunate thing on recycling is like they convert that to a diesel, an off-road diesel, and it's that end of the life for the used oil. So used oil technically means, when I say used oil, I'm referring to lubricant oil. It doesn't have an expiry date or it doesn't wear out. It just gets dirty. So the dependent of the fossil fuels could be reduced if we start re-refining, and that's what I and Nelson are looking into, see how we could re-refine this oil and give life after life, extend the life for the original. It all starts from fossil fuel, which is the crude oil. That's the virgin product. And then once it goes through cycles, either in industry or in automotive, then it becomes dirty. Obviously, you all change your engine oil every 5,000 or 10,000 miles. So you'll have to visualize how that oil is being cleaned, filtered, and then disposed out from that service station, right? So that's how it ends up to either a re-refiners or it goes to a recycling unit.
So it goes from when it's collected, there's a company that's collecting it.
Yes.
And putting it through some process.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes from them to your process to
Correct.
refine it.
Correct. That's
So
right.
do y'all have collection trucks also, or do you only buy it from a collection
Yeah, we are
agency?
going to buy it for now. We don't want us to, because that's a separate
Yes.
multi-million-dollar project altogether collection. We don't want to get into that now, but there is a plan for that as well sometime in the future. But we want to focus on what's our technology, what's our solution that we could deliver to the community here, and which is nothing but re-refining the project.
Yes. The only reason I asked that was because all four of us have a collection being at our barns, because we have a shop and our mechanics and everybody. And so there's a company that comes in from out the county. With you guys being in the county, we'll talk about possibly using y'all, but
Yes,
since
definitely.
you don't collect it.
Definitely. That's
Yes.
an option. Definitely we could look into that. And what we could do is we have tied up or partnered with a few of the collectors in the state as well as out of the state. So probably we will have them connect with you as well, whoever owns the lube shop or anything, and they will collect everything together, because for us, handling smaller volumes would be a challenging scenario in the beginning of our project, because our processing capacity is around 13 to 14,000 gallons in a day, and we expect all bulk loads coming in and going out. So we may not be able to handle something in barrels or cans or anything, because it will be a little bit challenging. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Yeah. So, as you may all know, we all change our engine oils pretty much once in 6 months, at least minimum. So the consumption of the lubricant oil, whether it's automotive or industrial. When I say industrial, it's like think about hydraulic oils, gear oil, greases, chain oil, saw oil, whatever it is. There are multiple lubricant oils in that. Even your WD-40 for garage, that's a lubricant oil as well. So the consumption is about 2.5 billion gallons annually, just in the United States alone. So that's the lubricant consumption, which makes a huge dependency on the fossil fuel, which comes from the ground. So which means more oil has to be drilled. There will be a lot of upstream options, then midstream, and then finally it ends up in the refinery, which is the downstream. And from 1 barrel of crude oil, I'm talking about the crude oil, which is the virgin product. 1 barrel of crude oil, you can extract only about 0.5 to 1 gallon of lubricant oil. That's it. Because the crude oil will be distilled for other light distillates, middle distillates, heavy distillates products, which starts from, we all know that it starts from kerosene gas, natural gas, and other things, and then goes to gasoline and diesel. So there are multiple products you can extract from the crude oil, but the lubricant oil, the core product, what we are talking about is like half a gallon is the max you could extract from the original crude oil. So to reduce that dependency, we are looking at re-refining the used oil. On the contrary, for the used oil, 1 barrel of used oil, we could recover almost 70%, which is about 33 to 34 gallons of a 42-gallon barrel, is what we could recover from the used oil. So that is the reason why we are into this re-refining business and not focusing on recycling business.
There'll be a certain percentage of it that's not usable at all, right? I mean, some of it at the end, I mean, it all falls off of it.
So if
How
you-
would you dispose of that? Do y'all ship that out?
If you look at the composition of how used oil, let me answer it in a different way, Commissioner. So there will be some water, moisture in that which cannot be used. We'll have to treat that water and probably end up using it for landscaping or for internal cooling tower purpose, because we will have both heating and cooling solutions within our facility. So we can use that for cooling tower, or we could use it for landscaping. Obviously, we have to treat that water because it comes from the oil. So that's one product which we'll refine. The other product is like, since it has gone through the carbonation cycle, whether it is running in car or anything, there will be some light hydrocarbons developed in that, which I'm referring to like a diesel fraction or a light hydrocarbon fraction is what we will separate. And then we will have obviously tower bottoms, which would be the additives, the original additives added to that, which would be considered as the tower
The
bottom.
carbon products, what do they do with that? What will they do with that?
So we call it as tower bottoms, which will end up as an asphaltene, which will go to a roof or even to the roads.
Yes.
Very similar to the crude oil, but this would be more, I would say, cleaner product, because this has already cleaned once
Yes, sir.
in the beginning with additives and everything. Now we just have to give or extend the life cycle of the product again and again. Yes. So Texas Futura with position in Texas. As you know, Texas is a more oil and gas friendly state. And since we are local to Texas, I'm originally from Dallas, and Nelson is from Houston. That's the reason why we chose Palestine, because of the commute, that I can come 2 hours here and Nelson can come. It's a little bit longer. We still have that debate or argument still going on between the partners, but he's flexible on that. So there are other options looking at the state of Texas. Is like we have so many refiners and lubricant blenders or off-takers in our case. So we can partner with them. And Palestine is another option why we chose, is like it has good rail options. So where we can connect with Union Pacific and ship down our product to Houston or any other place in Texas or out
Louisiana is just right there.
Louisiana, yes, we could do that as well. Yes. So from a product perspective, I briefly touched on that, Commissioner. So
Yes.
I talked about all the byproducts, what we are going to make, except for the water. But the core product, what we are going to make, is called base oil, which would end up being sold to the lubricant blenders, where they will make the finished lubricants. It could be automotive engine lubricants or diesel fluid lubricants, or it could be any industrial lubricants also. But we do have plans to expand our facility to have our in-house lubricant blending facility, but that's not in phase 1. So our phase 1 is focused only on producing the base oil from the used oil, and then we will work with our blenders, off-takers, where they could blend it and sell it to other end consumers. So this is just a trend of how the base oil market is growing. At this time, the whole North American or US market, I would say it's at $21.7 billion. That was projected way back in 2022 or estimated. But if you look at 2030, we are expecting a significant 30% increase in demand, which would raise up to almost $31 billion. So this is just an overall market snapshot. Yeah. So any questions so far before I move on? I want to give opportunity for everyone to have any questions.
The tract of land that y'all are looking at, what's the size of it?
It's a 3 acres parcel, and it's going to be within the Willow Creek Business Park. It's close to the Tampico Bottling Company plant.
Yes.
And right now, we are looking at around 1.5 acres of development for this phase 1. And then, as I said, when we plan on either expanding the facility or adding a lubricant blend, we could move to 3 acres, or we could work with Christoph and team to have more land.
You're in the process of doing what you do to it, how much outfall as far as smoke and, I mean, any kind of the cook process of breaking it down, will it discard in the air or anything?
No, everything is a closed loop system here.
Is it?
And I'm not going to say there won't be any smoke. There will be smoke, but it'll all be within the limits. We partner or we have to work with
Water
TCEQ.
filtrations, whatever.
Correct.
CEQ, yes.
We have to work with TCEQ and we have to comply by all the regulations what they have. TCEQ is the state version of EPA. Due to the volume we handle, we don't have to work with EPA, but we do have our own environmental consulting team, and we have to comply with all the regulations what TCEQ has. So the first thing what we focus on is the air permit, as you said, right? So we'll have to give all the parameters how much we are going to emit in terms of tonnage, whether it's carbon or sulfur dioxide,
Yes.
or hydrogen sulfide, or NOx, volatile organic components, SOx, and all those things we have to give. We have already provided that, and in fact, we have a permit available already for this lot, so which is good news.
Good.
So, as far as you said, the smoke and everything, it'll be contained as close
Oh,
to the
yeah.
system. But as far as smell, will there be a smell?
Yes. Yes and no. Obviously, the odor will not come from the plant side, but all the tanks, the above ground tanks, especially when you are dealing with a product where we are going to have the light hydrocarbons, there will be odor on that, but we will contain that with carbon adsorbers.
Okay, so those
So
tanks-
you will not be able to see the smell or the odor unless you walk very close to them. If you are like within 10, 20 feet from the storage tanks, obviously yes.
That was my question, because
Yes.
this is my precinct also, and I have farmers who live around up the hill right there, a few doctors, everybody, and they were questioning about, they heard the oil companies come in, will there be a smell or any kind of gas come off from that?
No. We are not dealing with any class 1 or class 2 product at all. So it is combustible products. It's safe. That's number one. From an odor perspective, it's a complete closed loop system. So you're not going to get any odor. I would say nothing. I'm not going to say zero, but nothing.
No, thank you.
Right? From the plant side. But on the tank side, when we load and unload, obviously from the trucks, we cannot control what's
We
coming in
understand.
and what's going out of the trucks. But what we are going to have is like all the storage vents would be connected to a carbon adsorbers, which comes in a barrel type, which will be kept. And all those, it's nothing but the coconut shell adsorbers.
You said it wouldn't be 10, 20 feet, your nearest farm is 100 feet from their property, so.
Correct.
Dr. Blackwell's place is just right there, and you don't,
Correct.
if it's
Correct.
20 feet, you
Correct.
won't smell it.
And smell is like reasonable petroleum odor. Same like if you go into a gas station, sometimes you may smell the gasoline or the diesel smell, right?
Yes, sir.
That's the way.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Thank you. So this is about our experience. So let me talk about myself. My background is mostly into technology. So I have supported multiple oil and gas companies in the past with providing them automations, instrumentations, PLCs and SCADAs. So that's my core background. And I do a lot of artificial intelligence and machine learning support as well. Not saying we are going to do that in this project, but that would be like a 10 years down the road. We'll be thinking of that as well.
Petroleum engineer?
Sorry?
Petroleum engineer?
But I'm an instrumentation engineer. That's my education background.
I figured engineer.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Nelson, please. Yeah, here.
Yeah, one.
Morning.
Morning to all.
If you'll state your name and who you
Yeah,
represent.
yeah, I'm Nelson Verghese. I'm the one of the president for Texas Futura LLC. My experience, I started my career with Indian Navy as retired as Lieutenant Commander in 2000. From there, I joined with Kuwait Oil Company as their one of the founder of Quality Health Safety Environmental Management System, and I was working as a senior divisional manager for Kuwait Oil Company till 2008. Then I moved to US. Initially, I came to Louisiana, a place called Shreveport. I started my own business there, designing, manufacturing, and supplying of heavy oil well services equipment, such as coil tubing, nitrogen pumping units. So that was supplied to Kuwait Oil Company and Saudi Aramco. Then fortunately, I met my business partner 4 years back. We came into a general discussion on what we can do something together. Then his background, his father-in-law has 2 plants similar to what we are going to do here, back in India. So he shared his experience as well as idea with me. Then absolutely I gave him the hand, and from there, for last 4 years, we were continuously working with our R&D team for bringing the most advanced technology to put something very, very advanced. That is what we end up here. Thank you for hearing me.
Yeah, I think you'll really appreciate the location. I mean, you're halfway between Dallas and Houston and Shreveport, and I think your shipments and your receivables are going to be really accessible here. You know, I mean, you're going to have the demand of needing the product to come and shipping it out. I think you made a good choice. Thank y'all.
Yes.
So as I was talking a little bit about our processing capacity would be roughly around 13,200 gallons per day, which equates to about 4.5 to 5 million gallons annually. So that's our processing capacity. And from that, we would make 3 different products. One would be the core product, which is base oil. And the other 2 products would be the light hydrocarbon, which you could refer it as off-road diesel, which could be used for furnaces, burning furnaces or heaters, or it could be used for agricultural equipments and so on. And the other product is the tower bottoms or the asphaltines, which could be used for the roof shingles or for the road constructions, which could again partner with county and cities also for that. Yes, please. This is more about the process, what we are going to follow. Stage 1 is always going to be once we receive the product, the used oil product, we will do basic filtration, because obviously we never know how it is contaminated with solid particles or magnet, anything. It could be contaminated even with stones, rocks, or anything like. So we have to do those basic filtration. And then the second stage, as I said, we will be separating all the moistures, water in that, as well as the lighter hydrocarbons. So that will be the second stage. The third stage is the main core stage, which is the distillation process. So, and last stage would be more of like a polishing stage. So here, all, as you could see, it's all mechanical separation process, no chemical injections or anything. Because when you do chemical injections, that is where, to you all questions, is all about how we control the air, odor, and all those things. So it's all about mechanical separations, which is less risk to handle, as well as less emission and less odor in that case.
The odors come from the sulfur and the acid, right?
Odor comes, we use two things. Odor comes from hydrogen sulfide, which we are not going to handle hydrogen sulfide there commonly. We do have a vacuum system, which is again in a closed loop. So when you do the distillation process, it's all available in Google, Commissioner. When you do the distillation process, you have to have certain vacuum. Because distillation means it goes through an evaporation stage, and to get that to the condensation phase, you need to have vacuum built in. So I don't want to go too much into the chemistry here. So with that vacuum, there will be some NOx, SOx, H2S produced into that, which will go into our scrubber system, and then it will go to our incineration, and then finally it will go to our heating burner system, and then whatever is left over is what we will emit, which will be way below the compliance or the regulations of the TCEQ.
Thank you.
Yeah, so from a site layout, we're still working out with our design engineering team. As I said, we are going to develop 1.5 acres now out of the 3 acres parcel. And then for future expansion, we will develop the remaining 1.5 acres, and then we can work with Christoph for any other future development. This is just a lab setup. So we are going to have in-house lab as well as just for basic incoming product testing. We wanted to ensure how much water, how much TAN, TAN means its total acid number, TBN means its total base number. So we wanted to test all those basic parameters and ensure that we are well within the limits to accept the product. And then we will have some basic lab setup for our end products as well. And obviously we'll have to partner with some third-party labs for our quality and compliance. This I already covered. These are all the products that we are going to make. From a timelines perspective, so we are looking at breaking the ground sometime in December of 2023, or worst case could be January 2024, given the holidays and the seasons and everything coming up. Once we break it down, the construction process would take approximately anywhere between 6 to 8 months. When I say construction, it's not just the real estate, on the process side as well. The plant equipment is the longer time consuming process, and then also the storage tanks and all those things. So we are roughly looking at 8 months. So if you consider January, so August, September timeframe, we should be operational at that time. And the other popular question, Commissioner, is about the job, the employees. So we are going to start with 21 people in year one.
Is that during construction?
Construction, I don't have the count, to be honest, Judge, because we are going to just do the contracting work.
Would be 21 people.
Correct. When it is operational, it will be 21.
On the 21 people, can they be from local communities?
Yes.
Or they have to have
yes,
any kind of background degrees or anything? I'm sure.
So our plan is to have, like, how we are structuring our team is to have like supervisors and leads who has the refinery experience, and then obviously all the people under them with some basic experience. If not, this is not a rocket science, to be honest with you. This could be trainable. So they can train. If they have passion and attitude to learn, anybody could learn this. And what we are looking at is almost like 99% automation, so that it's less human intervention required during the process. And that's morely for safety, as well as any accidents, things we can avoid all those accidents, right? Because human mistakes can happen, so we wanted to avoid that. So this is more of like the 21 people, this will be like a 24/7 operation. So there will be at least 4 shifts running for the entire week, I would say. So each shift will have like 4 or 5 people approximately. And this 21 people includes even the front office employees also, not just the regular labor force working on the plant. This includes the front office. So this is on year 1. And year 3, we have a plan of adding 5. And year 5, 5th year, we have a plan of adding 7. With the assumption in year 3 or year 5, we will expand the operations. Yeah, this is like a future timelines. I think we are good. Thank you. Thank you all. Any questions? I'll be happy to take.
The supply of that raw material, there's plenty of it out there. I know you threw a big number out there. You're sending it somewhere, so does that just go to the highest bidder?
Yeah, to answer that question, we are working continuously for last 4 years.
Yes.
So we made our network for the supplier as well as end buyers. So it is not a short time.
Can you come up to the mic, because he's got to put this in the records.
Okay, you can conclude.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So personally, I have been doing this oil commodity trading supply for last 5 to 7 years. So I have all the networks, and he also has all the networks on his side. And coincidentally, we are going to meet a couple of people after this meeting in our lot. They wanted to meet us. They are going to be one of our used oil suppliers, and it's plenty available. As long as the cars and industries are running, you don't have to worry about it. And even though there will be questions coming up, hey, electric cars are coming, right? That's an obvious question for us. So the answer is simple. Even electric cars requires lubricants, brake fluids, the car disc fluids, that also requires lubricant. So you'll have to think about that also. It's not just the engine oil we are looking at, right? There are other things, transmission, brake fluids, even wiper fluids. There are so many other fluids that goes into the car system.
Thank you.
Just one question. I don't know if Chris, I know he's probably got some of this in writing, but on the payroll, you got some, you were talking about, you got some first line supervision type people, then you're gonna have some other employees.
Correct.
Just kind of an estimate on what you're looking at, maybe first line supervisor, what the pay might be, or just an estimate.
Range of salaries.
We have the total wages in place. If I take a guesstimate of that, the supervisor would be somewhere between $17 to $18 per hour.
Okay.
It's just a guesstimate, Judge. And
You're gonna have some other people that have some subject matter expertise in working in your plan.
correct. So the hierarchy, what we are looking at it is like, it'll be both of us as principals or presidents of the company, and then followed by we'll have one plant manager who will have significant experience on refineries or any other oil and gas industries. And then followed by, we will have 4 or 5 supervisors to manage each shift. If you are talking about 4 shifts, a bare minimum, we need to have 4 supervisors who will have at least some minimum experience. I'm just calling it out like 2 or 3 years of experience. And again, there are multiple factors to decide on that wage, right? So location, the experience, the skill set they are bringing, and so many other factors. So from a supervisor perspective, I could take a guess of $17 or $18 per hour, and normal labor below the supervisor, I could be thinking of $12 or $13 per hour.
Okay. Any questions? Anybody?
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all being here.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
And we had this on the agenda one time before, but then it got delayed, so we needed to adopt a retainer agreement with Allison Bass and McGee to help put the abatement agreement together. So,
And I'll just lend just a little bit of context to that
Yeah,
as
go
well.
ahead, I'm sorry.
We've shared the abatement agreement that the city is going to be considering with Allison Bass and McGee for them to work off of, since it's a matching abatement agreement. This is for a 5-year abatement, 100% in year 1, 70% in year 2, 50% in year 3, and then 25% in years 4 and 5.
but it's just for the 5 years.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
5-year term.
All right, well, I'll entertain a motion to approve the retainer agreement with Allison Bass and McGee to develop a abatement agreement with Texas Future LLC. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mims. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
And then item number 21 is here, a presentation from Dr. Jason Morrison, President of Trinity Valley Community College, and Christoph Trahan, Director of Palestine Economic Development Corporation, on the expansion of the Trinity Valley Community College Palestine campus to create a hub for statewide correctional training, and TVCC request to the county for assistance in funding the project. Good.
Have some handouts I'll disperse to the court.
Sure, okay. Morning, how are you this morning?
Good morning. Doing
I
great.
like the word expansion.
I do too.
I'm alumni too.
Well, even better.
Yeah.
So I'll get a go cards before we finish. All right.
One commissioner had to leave, but you got our attention, so.
All right. Well, my name is Jason Morrison. I am the new president of Trinity Valley Community College, 7 months on the job. And very proud of the partnership we have with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice and what we're doing here at the Palestine location at Trinity Valley. This proposal going before the commission is about the expansion and really creating an identity of the partnership with Texas Department of Criminal Justice. We currently handle for this region, all the pre-service, which is the new hire training and the continual education in service training with the Department of Criminal Justice. This facility that we're constructing on the campus of TVDCC will actually, in reality, create a center of excellence for training when it comes to our partnership with the Corrections Department. We all know the need for correction employees. They're currently way understaffed. We need more training to ensure our prisons are operating at the highest capacity with trained personnel. And we've had a long partnership with the TDCJ in providing this training, and we'd like to continue this partnership in a new 20,000 square foot facility.
Can y'all step outside if you don't have to? Okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're okay. So we'd like to continue this partnership in a new 20,000 square foot facility that will be the home of this center of excellence. As you see kind of the floor plans here, it's really an open training facility with two large training areas with a corridor of offices, restrooms, break area in the middle. It's a very kind of a simple design because the purpose is to train workforce for the corrections. Slide 2 kind of gives you kind of how the building will look from the front and the side. It's going to be located kind of right behind the main building on the campus and to the left of the Calhoun building, facing the facility. This will be a great partnership, and like I said, this will allow us the capability to increase and expand training to other entities within the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. We have just gone through some kind of restructuring, and we have hired a new director for this program, and we actually hired him within the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. So we'll have one of their own training supervisors coming to work for TVCC, and he'll be the point of expanding the training and the partnership with the Corrections Department. How many people do we actually train in a year? We train over about 10,000 people in a year with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. So this, like I said, this new facility will give us a better training environment and allow us to take in more students as the need, and we know the need's only going to continue to increase with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice.
That 10,000 stays pretty consistent then with what y'all doing?
Yes, sir. You know, on a side note, we do this training for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for free. Under the new funding formula in the state of Texas, all the in-service, we do receive a small portion for the pre-service for an OSA that we just received approval for. But all this training is actually done for the betterment of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for free on behalf of Trinity Valley Community College. Any questions?
Well, one of the things that I'm not sure how much you can elaborate on it. All these people are going to be staying in our hotels, right?
Yes, sir.
I've got that information, Judge.
That's your part?
Yeah.
My partner.
Okay.
I'll be picking that information up when Dr. Morrison's presentation.
Okay.
I think this is really a start of a great partnership between Trinity Valley and the Economic Development Commission. I know since I've been here, we've been meeting and talking back and forth, and y'all just recently had a meeting about other training opportunities. They left, but I'd like to reach out to them and see what kind of training they're going to need for their facility. This is just kind of the tip of the spear of what's to come as far as training. This is an area that Trinity Valley has not been, I would say, just all in on, but we're looking to expand our customized training, customized workforce training. Basically, whatever company A needs, how can Trinity Valley provide that training for them? And we're kind of just in the early stages. We just recently, about 3 weeks ago, hired a new coordinator for customized training as well at Trinity Valley.
Glad to see the expansion. Chris, you want?
All right. So I do have one final handout. This is the economic impact that we're estimating from this expansion to the Palestine campus solely on the expanded correctional training. So this has been a project that we've been working on for about a year with Trinity Valley, at least I have in the year that I've been here. So when we first started out, we took this information, we started meeting with hoteliers. I got to meet with 3 different hoteliers here in the city, Veer Patel, Pete Patel, and Alex Patel, to share this information with them, let them know, what the outlook was for creating this hub for training, and ask them what their experiences had been as hotel owners with similar types of trainees utilizing their facilities. They all expressed support for this project because these trainees represent, I think the term they use is low impact customers. They're coming in with state per diems. They're not staying in their hotel rooms. They're on site taking their trainings for the entirety, for basically 90% of the time that they're here. And then they move on, they keep the rooms well. So the hoteliers were very, very supportive of this. And as you'll see in that economic impact statement, the brunt of the impact that we're estimating, all of our estimations are always going to be the most conservative estimates that we can put out. But the brunt of the impact that we're expecting from this is going to be on hot tax. Bringing more bodies into Palestine on an annual basis with state per diems who won't have options other than staying in our hotels will help bolster our lodging industry quite a bit. There will also be a sales tax implication through collaboration with the major in the TDCJ who's actually over the training. He helped us last December conduct some spending surveys with each of the cohorts that they had, trainees that they had there, to tell us what they spent on food in our restaurants, what they spent on gasoline in our gas stations, and what they spent on just sundries from different retailers. And so we took that information, we averaged it out, and from there we extrapolated the numbers that you see for the sales tax. Again, that's a very conservative figure, and we estimate that it's probably going to be a more significant impact than what you see there just on the paper. But those are the 2 economic rationale by which we've kind of built the support grant for this expansion to the Palestine campus. Currently, what has been discussed between city and EDC and what we're kind of approaching the county for today is what we're trying to do is put together $1.25 million to help support this expansion of the campus. My board is prepared to put forward $500,000, and we're seeking matching agreements of $375,000 each from the city and the county.
Sir, something that was similar to this, and we talked about it back a few years ago. Mr. Patel was familiar with it because they participated in it.
The cyber training, cybersecurity training.
Cybersecurity training at UT Tyler that was sponsored for the Texas Alcohol and Beverage Commission.
Yes, sir.
And they were sending all their people through that. It was from another university that was working with UT Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, because I know I was in the class, so they were actually, the state of Texas was paying for the hotel and all their meals and all their travel.
Mm.
And so we looked at it, this is kind of a similar project because they housed, and it was good for the hotel industry because they housed all those people in our local hotels. So
yes, sir.
we had that discussion, and I didn't know if you had heard that discussion before. So I'm looking at that as kind of an example of the way this sort of would work with the state. But I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, and I don't know how the court feels. One thing is we're going to get some sales tax back off this, and we'll have some hotel motel tax this is going to generate.
Yes, sir.
One thing is reinvesting the funds that we have in either sales tax and or hotel motel taxes, trying to reinvest that in the community to create more revenue.
Yes, sir.
And so that's the way I'm looking at this. And right now, the hotels and motels are paying tax to the county.
Yeah.
And this would be be an opportunity for us, because that statute says for, expo center, civic center, or any other purpose, permitted by that statute. So I'm thinking that we could use some of our hotel motel tax.
Yeah, as long as it enhances, it says tourism, you know, and those guys would fall under, I mean, they're coming here on a temporary basis, so they're not, you know.
Right, there was some confusion at first of if it could be used for other purposes, but that last paragraph in the statute that was created allows that. And I asked Megan to kind of see what we had. We've got more than 375,000 right now, correct?
Next year's budgeted for over 600,000.
Okay.
How long does this training last? If you come to Anderson County to train for a job, how long do you expect it to be here?
So it's dependent upon which class or which cohort that you're in. Some trainings last 5 days, so a work week. Some last upwards of 11, 12 days. Some last much longer than that. Those classes, however, don't have an impact in the statement that you see here because they do have housing. I believe it's the pre-service. They have housing for those trainees. But this is only for those expanded trainings, the new trainings to be added. So anywhere from 5 to 11 days in terms of room nights being generated.
But this is going to be essentially the training facility for all the TDCJ, the whole state of Texas.
This will be a facility that, for whatever capacity they want to use it for, it'll be available for. It's going to be a designated facility for them. So.
I could mention one other thing. I believe slightly before Dr. Morrison joined Trinity Valley Community College, we actually had a meeting with the head of TDCJ's Training and Leadership Development Division, a gentleman named David Yebra. And Mr. Yebra even expressed that, I mean, he also spoke very highly of the long-standing working relationship that the TDCJ has had with Trinity Valley and the great success that they've had in working with Trinity Valley for correctional training. And Mr. Yebra expressed that seeing this project through, the state is only going to continue looking at consolidating its training under the TDCJ. So this could also open up opportunities for us to create hubs, local hubs for parole training and probationary training as well.
That's right. But the money that we're talking about is generated from basically the hotels. And it's going to immediately affect them first, you know, because they can bring a peanut butter jelly sandwich and eat out of the sack, but they're going to have somewhere to stay, you know, to be comfortable. So I think where it's coming from is going to impact them immediately.
When you go to train, are you already assigned to a prison unit or?
I believe so. I mean, when the new hires are coming, they're being trained for a particular, you know, they've been hired, and those students go through a 5-week training. So.
Well, I was just thinking they might come see the lovely city and decide they want to relocate here.
It's certainly getting more eyes on to Palestine and Anderson County, without a doubt. So it's definitely another benefit from it. My board is very much looking at this. As you gentlemen know, I don't oversee hot tax, hotel tax for the city. We're funded by a Type B sales tax. Our prerogatives are in economic development, diversification, and workforce development. And workforce development is exactly where my board sees the greatest value in this project and in choosing to move forward with a $500,000 portion of this grant. They see this as creating training pathways for local individuals to be able to, you know, access close to home, find meaningful employment close to home, and access good salaries and state level benefits with local training and local job opportunities. So that's just another kind of the EDC outlook on it.
And we're looking to create an identity for the Palestine campus, and we feel like the addition of this facility is going to create more excitement to increase enrollment. And part of our partnership with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, we've also just started a tuition assistance program with them that will increase those students that go through this training to continue on with their education. They'll receive a 50% tuition discount while employed with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. So the goal there is to hope that they will continue their education at Trinity Valley, go Cards, and provide even more economic impact to the community.
What are you needing from us today? Amendment on 375 or?
What we're seeking for the court to consider, yes, sir, is to join with the EDC and city. As I mentioned, EDC, we're looking at $500,000 from our budget to support this $1.25 million grant. The city is planning to put forward $375,000 from their general fund, and what we're asking for the county is an additional $375,000 to bring us to $1.25 million. Jason, could you touch on total project costs, perhaps?
The project's going to come in about $7 million.
How soon would the money need to be made available? Now? Or is that gonna be the
I'd
first
say-
of the year? I'm just.
It's a good question. It's a good question. My board, we're actually going to be using our December board meeting to make a budgetary amendment to satisfy this $500,000. And we'll be looking at bringing this in front of the city council, if not on December the 11th, then at the first meeting of the year in January, just depending upon kind of how heavy their docket is on the 11th. But I would say this, what we have done is we've actually had our EDC attorneys draft. It's a two-part agreement, an interlocal agreement, which would be between city and county, and then our own performance agreement, which is what would have the requirements of the creation of the training, the hosting of the training, everything, the use of local hotels. Our performance agreement, which would then be referenced by the interlocal agreement, so the terms would exist in our performance agreement with Trinity Valley, and the interlocal agreement would allow for the funding structure to take place. So we've had that drafted. We're working on finalizing that with our attorneys right now, and we'll share that information with the court as it becomes available.
We would not be able to.
Make sure the county auditor is comfortable using the hot tub.
I am. We wouldn't be able to. The court wouldn't be able to vote on it till January because the budget. We're a calendar fiscal year, so there's no budget right now.
Right, it's not budget.
Right.
Wow.
But I mean, there's going to be
fiscal year?
We're a calendar fiscal year.
Wow, that's the only government in Texas I've seen this like that. That's
No, there's
wild.
many.
Okay, wow.
We've got a calendar fiscal year.
I'm so used to October 1. That's wild. Okay.
But I mean, like, they're doing an interlocal agreement, so I mean, I would recommend that the court would do that as well. So that would take time too.
Yeah.
So
It syncs up with timelines pretty well.
That's not gonna cause us a problem if we have to do it first meeting in January.
No, sir.
Gives us time to work out the
January
contracts.
will be here before we know it.
Gives us time to work out the contracts.
Okay.
Yeah. Tremendous. All right. Any other questions on this that we can answer today?
Or any other thoughts?
What other training are y'all looking at? I think the sheriff had mentioned one time about doing some peace officer training there at the college. Is that something you're still looking at?
I would say all training is now on the table. I mean, this is not an area of focus that's been for TVCC as far as customized type training. It's an area that we're moving into. It's from my background, from my experience in higher education. I came from an institution that was a major training entity for our community, and we see the economic growth opportunity within our district, and we see in a short amount of time over the last few weeks with the new coordinator for workforce, we've already met with a dozen different industry types that are needing some type of training. That's throughout our district. And y'all met this last week to talk about how can TVCC expand its role in being the go-to trainer. And that's everything from forklift, OSHA 10, OSHA 30, you name it, we're wanting to go down that avenue of customized training. So it'd be the same with any entity within our area that needs some type of training. You know, obviously as an education institution, we get certain discounts in providing different types of training, and there's also grants available at the state level that help with training. Many go through the EDC as long as they're in partner with the education institution as well. So
I can give a few kind of specifics on that as well. A number of the businesses that we're helping to expand as well as recruiting to Palestine and Anderson County are in need of chemical lab technicians and process engineer technicians. That's a conversation that we've had with Trinity Valley's new director of corporate training, Mr. Crosby, director of corporate training. We've also talked about utilizing the Skills for Small Business program through the Texas Workforce Commission to provide for some cross-linguistics training that could be provided to any retailer in the city with less than 100 employees at no cost to the retailer, that would give their employees the ability to communicate across English and Spanish language barriers, provided that's kind of the demographic that we largely see in our area, and it's a skill set we think would be valuable to our retailers. So there's a couple just off the top. If there aren't any other questions, I think we can.
Put this back on in January.
Yeah.
Try to work out all the logistics.
We will be doing that until then. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming to Anderson County with that expansion.
No problem.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 22 is consider and take action on reimbursement of $1,306.08 to Elmwood Volunteer Fire Department for flashlights to be paid with approved American Rescue Plan Act funds. And this is one for reimbursement from their already budgeted funds. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 23, consider and take action on reimbursement of $3,892.50 to Mont Alva Volunteer Fire Department for radios and pagers to be paid from approved American Rescue Plan Act funds. Same thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chapin. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? So ordered. Item number 24, consider and take action on bids for Road and Bridge Department gasoline and diesel fuel previously awarded in Commissioners Court on November the 13th, 2023 for the year 2024 for our next calendar year budget for 2024. Bid tabulation presented to the court was incorrect. Megan, if you want.
Yes, so the tabulation that you have is the correct figures. What we presented to the court, last court, was, I think one vendor did not include the tax that the county has to pay, the state tax. So, Suncoast Resources is the lowest, and then Coal Distributing is the second lowest. The note at the bottom does say that this is based, for precinct 1, 2, and 3 is based on 7,100 gallons for Suncoast, and then precinct 4 is based on 2,000 gallon deliveries. And then, there was a couple exceptions in there. They wanted to make, a couple changes to the terms and conditions, and I spoke to the district attorney, and she advised that we shouldn't agree to those terms. It was just two little sections about Suncoast cannot agree to accept liability for the negligence or more culpable conduct of the county or of a third party. Suncoast requests that we edit the paragraph that's in our bid packet to what they have, and then the same thing for the delivery. The only thing with the delivery, the section of the delivery they're talking about is saying that they have extensive emergency response department within its company. If there's a major storm or some catastrophe, they have a contract with the state of Texas, so, if something happened, they're first, the state's first. So I don't think that's a big deal, but, the DA said that she recommends that we don't accept their changes. So, I don't know if the court, would want to accept Suncoast as the primary if they agree that we're not going to accept their changes, contingent on that, but.
We could accept Suncoast, primary, and Coal Distributing secondary.
With
Correct.
contingent.
Yeah.
With the intention.
That we're not going to change our terms and conditions.
That's right, terms, conditions. I really feel like that we should stick with coal. The bins, they are local. They got you down here at 33 cents to Mount Alba. Coal straight across the 25.5, what it is straight. And he is also a local vendor. Plus he has a lot of businesses here, store wise, pays taxes. I just respect that part of him. And he'll bring you any amount of gallons. I've never seen him put a restrictions of 7,100 or, he's been really good to work with, but that's.
I've called him and got 1,000 gallons of gas and 1,500.
And it don't change the price.
Because my diesel usage is more than my gas. So when I'm out of diesel, I call and get diesel and I check my gas tank. And if I need 500 gallons of gas, I order 1,700 gallons of diesel, 500 gallons of gas. they bring it, put it in there, leave the ticket on the desk.
Yeah, they've been doing it for us for now, I get 1 or 2 years, I don't remember, but I get good service out of them, and I
And it
do,
is
I do
quite a bit
respect.
cheaper for me to use Cole, you know, but.
I think this year was the
Let
first
me
year.
ask you a question, do we need to go back and rescind?
Yes, I'm sorry.
That needs to happen
Yes,
first, correct?
the court needs to rescind that,
Okay,
yes.
so on the original motion, it was Suncoast was the first bid and.
I think Fikes was the first
Cole
bid,
was
right?
second, was it not?
Fikes,
I don't remember.
Fikes was the one we picked that had the 20 cents, that
Yeah,
hadn't
fight,
added.
didn't have the 20 cents. We
So
picked
we need to
fight.
rescind it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did fight for the primary
And then
and
Suncoast.
Cole for secondary.
Was it secondary,
Yeah,
Cole?
yeah, Cole was secondary.
Yes.
We need to
All right, so
rescind it.
I'll entertain a motion to rescind, the motion made on November the 13th, 2023, to award the bid to, you said Fikes was primary
Fikes was primary.
and Cole was secondary.
Yes, sir.
All right, do I have a motion to rescind that original motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chapin, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, so ordered. So do I have a motion? And we're gonna do Coal Distributing is number one, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then Suncoast is number two.
Depending if they, oh, really, we don't
Let's
even,
put it in there, the stipulations.
okay.
If somebody will word it like y'all understand it needs to be.
Well, I make a motion, we, choose Cole's Distributing as our primary, Suncoast Resources as our secondary, depending on if they want to continue with us not making the changes to the contract, to their contract.
Does that work for you?
Yes, what if they do not want to accept our terms?
I think Cole's Distributing would be the only one that we would need to pick.
So you don't want to do a second?
So if they don't agree to the terms, then we're rejecting their bid?
We're rejecting their bid.
Is that part of your motion?
Yes, sir, that is, if Suncoast does not agree to the terms, then we will reject their bid.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner, is that okay?
Do you want to pick up a second one just
That's
in
what I'm
case?
saying, if they don't accept
What
the
about that-
terms, Sunco is the next one.
Sunco is the next one, and go ahead and make them the second, just in
Okay.
case Cole's.
No,
Okay,
Suncoast.
let me start
I don't
over.
think we've ever used them, but we can.
It's Sunco.
Sunoco, Sunoco,
Oh, it's Sunoco?
Sunoco.
Sunoco.
I think they're
That would be
new.
the third then.
a new bid.
If we
Let me-
reject some,
Let me redo it, I guess.
okay.
Okay. I put in form of motion that we choose Cole's Distributing for our primary, fuel. And we, choose Suncoast Resources for our secondary, depending on if they want to continue with us not accepting their contract, the wording of their contract. And if they do not accept that, then we recuse their bids and we award Sunoco LLC as our secondary.
Okay.
All right, motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 25, consider to take action on awarding a backhoe bid for Anderson County Road and Bridge Precinct 2. I think we only had one bid, correct?
Yes, it was Noonday Tractor, an auction with, a 75,000 is the one bid.
Okay, and the funds,
Yes, I should have asked him, the only place would be ARPA, so. the court
but he
approved it.
still has money in ARPA.
Yes,
He has
yes,
it
sir,
in our
yes,
precinct too.
yes. I'm assuming he wanted to do ARPA, I didn't ask
So
him.
that
but,
needs to be part of the motion then.
And if the court would want to approve the payment, so we don't have to come back to court to cut a check.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve Noonday Tractor and auction, bid of $75,000, for the backhoe bid for Anderson County Road and Bridge Precinct 2 out of American Rescue, Plan Act funds, that are designated for Precinct, Road and Bridge Precinct 2. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 26.
Can we approve the payment? Is that what you said?
Yes, I'm sorry, was that not in there?
Can you just add it to it?
Yeah.
So, let's amend it. All right, I'll entertain a motion to amend, the original motion on item 26, awarding the Noonday Tractor and auction, bid of $75,000 to Road and Bridge Precinct 2 out of ARPA funds and approve the payment.
That's number 25.
Oh, I'm sorry. I done turned the page.
Yeah, number
25.
I don't know if that matters, but.
Well, okay. Well, I'll entertain a motion to approve that amendment to item number 25.
So much.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? So ordered on the amendment. Now, I'm gonna entertain a motion to approve the regular motion as amended to award the bid for Noonday Tractor and auction for $75,000 for the backhoe, Road and Bridge Precinct 2, in order that the payment be made.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? So ordered. Okay. Now, turn. All right. Consider, item number 26, consider and take action on the purchase and installation of a new water heater for Anderson County Jail in the amount of $20,215.80 to be paid from capital outlay. And we did approve a budget amendment in capital outlay for contingency fund. Make sure the funds for this are available.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We just purchased, we have two water heaters in the jail, both of them 119 gallon. We just purchased one in December of last year. And unfortunately, this one was the same age as the one that we replaced in December. So now it's gone out. It actually just had a valve go out in it, but they've obsoleted that valve, and it, cost an ungodly amount to manufacture a new valve and just have it made. So realistically, we felt like we'd just be throwing good money after bad if we tried to repair the one that was there instead of just replacing it. So unfortunately, the heater went up $3,000 since December of last year. So it is what it is, but hopefully we'll be good for another 10 or 15 years when we get this one replaced.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the purchase of a new water heater for Anderson County Jail in the amount of $20,215.80 from, to be paid from capital outlay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Okay. Item number 27, consider and take action on declaring the following items surplus, transferring them to Frankston Volunteer Fire Department.
Judge, we had several siren amplifiers that the fire department said they could make use of. We have no further use for them as we've replaced those with newer models. So we just asked that they be awarded. Megan, do we need to read the serial numbers into the record?
Yes, I'm not sure if they're on our inventory, but it won't hurt.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the following items to be declared surplus, transfer them to Frankston Volunteer Fire Department. One is a Wheeling amplifier, serial number 00439. Second is a Wheeling amplifier, serial number 10075. And Wheeling amplifier, the third one, has no serial number available. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Chapin, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
There you go.